Philip I, often known as Philip the Arab, was the 34th emperor of the Roman Empire. His reign from 244 to 249 AD marked a period of relative stability in the Roman world, but also foreshadowed the challenges that would later characterize the crisis of the 3rd century. As the first Roman emperor of Arab descent, Philip's life and career provide a unique lens through which to understand the complexity of the Roman Empire during the mid-3rd century. Philip was born around 204 AD in the city of Shaba, later known as Philippopolis, in present-day Syria, to a prominent Arab family. His full name was Marcus Julius Philippus. His family hailed from the region of the Nabatean kingdom, which had become part of the Roman Empire in 106 AD. Given the Roman practice of incorporating provincials into the imperial system, Philip's Syrian origins were not seen as particularly unusual, though his background would later be highlighted as a distinctive feature of his reign. Philip's rise to power occurred during the reign of Emperor Severus Alexander, 222 to 235 AD, who was facing numerous military challenges on the frontiers of the empire, particularly with the Germanic tribes in the north and the Sasanian Persians in the east. Philip served in the Roman military, and through his talents and connections, he gradually advanced through the ranks. In 232 AD, Philip was appointed to a key administrative position and became involved in military campaigns. By 243 AD, he had risen to the rank of Praetorian Prefect, the chief officer of the emperor's bodyguard, and a position of significant power and influence. The reign of Severus Alexander ended in a dramatic turn of events in 235 AD, when the emperor was murdered by his own troops during a campaign against the Germanic tribes. His death led to a period of instability as a series of short-lived emperors, often backed by the military, struggled for control of the empire. Philip's key moment came in 244 AD, when the Emperor Gordian III, who had been ruling since 238 AD, was killed, possibly through a conspiracy. Following Gordian's death, Philip was proclaimed emperor by his troops. Some sources suggest that Philip was involved in the death of Gordian III, although the details of this event remain murky. Regardless, Philip's ascension to the throne marked the beginning of his rule over the empire. Philip's reign is notable for several key events and developments, some of which shaped the history of the Roman Empire during the mid-3rd century. One of Philip's first major challenges as emperor was the ongoing conflict with the Sasanian Empire. The Sasanians, under King Shapur I, had been engaged in a series of military campaigns against the Roman Empire, particularly in the east. In 244 AD, shortly after ascending to the throne, Philip faced the aftermath of a major Roman defeat at the hands of the Sassanids. Philip managed to negotiate a peace treaty with Shapur I, which resulted in the cession of significant territories, including Armenia and parts of Mesopotamia, to the Sasanians. This agreement was seen as a temporary reprieve from the Sasanian threat, though it did not resolve the larger issue of Roman-Sasanian rivalry. The treaty earned Philip a reputation for being pragmatic, but also for being willing to make concessions to ensure the stability of the empire. In 248 AD, Philip celebrated the 1000th anniversary of the founding of Rome, known as the Millennium. This event was a major propaganda effort, as it emphasized the grandeur and continuity of the Roman Empire. It was marked by large-scale festivities, including games, feasts, and a grand procession through the streets of Rome. This celebration was also an attempt to bolster Philip's legitimacy, as his reign had faced challenges from rival factions and military uprisings. The celebration of Rome's millennium was meant to reaffirm the strength of the empire under Philip's leadership and to remind the Roman people of their long history of power and influence. Philip's reign saw some attempts at reform and modernization, particularly in the areas of taxation and military organization. However, his policies were often shaped by the pressures of external threats and the growing instability within the empire. Philip's domestic rule was also marked by significant financial strain, which resulted from the empire's military expenditures, especially the cost of maintaining Roman frontiers and military campaigns. To address these fiscal issues, Philip sought to increase taxes and issued new coinage. However, his administration faced significant criticism for this approach, and his monetary policies led to inflation, undermining confidence in the empire's economic stability. The final years of Philip's reign were overshadowed by increasing military unrest. The army, which had been a key source of Philip's power, began to turn against him. Philip's son, Philip II, had been appointed as co-emperor in 247 AD, and Philip's decision to elevate his son was viewed as a political move to solidify his rule, but it also contributed to tensions within the military hierarchy. In 249 AD, a rebellion broke out among the troops in the Balkans, led by Decius, a general who had previously served under Philip. The army proclaimed Decius emperor, and he quickly moved to confront Philip's forces. The two armies met near the town of Verona in northern Italy, where Philip's forces were decisively defeated. Following his defeat, Philip fled to the city of Verona, but his situation grew increasingly desperate. According to historical sources, Philip was killed in a subsequent battle, or possibly executed by his own soldiers in the wake of the defeat. His death marked the end of his reign, and Decius succeeded him as emperor. Philip's reign was relatively short, but had a lasting impact on the Roman Empire. While his peace treaty with the Sasanians may have provided temporary respite, the empire's eastern borders remained vulnerable, and the larger issues of military discipline, economic instability, and political fragmentation would continue to trouble the Roman state. Philip's attempt to celebrate Rome's 1000th anniversary demonstrated a desire to link his reign with the grand historical tradition of Rome. However, his reign is often seen as a transitional period, marking the last moments of stability before the full-scale crises of the 3rd century unfolded. As the first Roman emperor of Arab descent, Philip's rise to the throne reflects the increasing integration of non-Roman elites into the power structures of the empire. While his reign is often overshadowed by the dramatic events of the crisis of the 3rd century, Philip the Arab's tenure highlights the continuing adaptability and complexity of the Roman Empire during an era of profound transformation. Ultimately, Philip I's reign was marked by both military pragmatism and internal dissent, and while he may have sought to consolidate power and stabilize the empire, his rule was undone by the very forces of military factionalism and political instability that would come to define the 3rd century.